Which do you think is scarier, a man in the body of a beast or a beast in the body of a man? It'll be easier to answer this question after watching the horror movie The Cursed. No time to watch the whole movie? Then watch our recap. The events take place in 1917 France during World War I. After a fierce battle, the hospital is bustling with work. Among the wounded is a French captain who has been hit by 3 bullets. The doctor begins to remove them. The soldier is delirious and starts whispering a children's counting rhyme. While treating the wounded, the doctor discovers another foreign object in his body. It is another bullet, but it doesn't look like a German bullet. It is shiny and cast from precious metal. The wounded man mutters, "8 for silver," and gives out a gasp. The next scene takes place 35 years back in time. We see the lands of a French land baron and hunter, Seamus Laurent. He lives a perfect life with a luxurious estate, a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful children, and an army of maids. His peaceful life gets overshadowed by the arrival of strangers. The baron's land is settled by a gypsy camp. The villagers constantly hear the creaking of tents and the cries of children. All of this starts to irritate the locals. An elder gypsy woman informs her assistant that the camp is in danger. She orders him to make the silver ready. She speaks about a special metal. The gypsies take care of that silver, while that silver takes care of the gypsies. Obeying the old woman, the man retrieves ancient coins from the stash. He melts them, casts silver teeth, inserts the fangs in a special jar, and gives them to the old woman. Meanwhile, Seamus convenes a council. The elders tell him that the gypsies consider this land as their property. Their words are confirmed by a document signed 80 years ago. But the elders do not care. The baron orders the gypsies to be driven from their land. The mercenaries set out for the camp. They start shooting. The baron indifferently watches as the men take lives of gypsies and set fire to the tents. The mercenaries take pictures with their bodies, as if they were hunting trophies. They catch a gypsy who tried to escape and tie him to a cross, put the bag over his head and cut his ankles and wrists off his body. Instead, they stuff the sleeves and pants with straws. A pillar with a still living man is erected in the middle of the field like a scarecrow. The elderly gypsy woman tries to wound her attackers with silver teeth. She does not succeed. As punishment, both she and her teeth are buried in the middle of the field. As lumps of earth fly into the gypsy's face, she whispers curses. The beasts who have caused the gypsies so much evil will soon pay for it. Time passes. The scarecrow that was supposed to be an admonition to the gypsies terrifies the locals. It appears to everyone in their nightmares. Seamus's children, Charlotte and Edward, are no exception. The next scene takes place in a tavern. Among the visitors, we see a pathologist, John McBride. He asks the locals about the gypsies. John meets Alfred Molière, a police lieutenant. The lieutenant mentions an incident in Gévaudan and expresses his condolences to John. But let's get back to the land of the Baron. The children constantly see the scaring nightmares about a living scarecrow and a flying old gypsy woman. By the day, their innocent counting begins to sound like an eerie prophecy. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for a wedding, 6 for birth, 7 for a curse, buried in the earth, 8 for silver, 9 for gold, 10 for a wolf. These are also the lines whispered by the wounded captain at the beginning of the movie. But this counting is not to everyone's liking. A boy named Timmy suggests that the Baron's children search for the source of their nightmares. The guys go to the field and find a scarecrow and an old woman's grave. Timmy, like a man possessed, digs out silver teeth out of the ground, puts them in his mouth, and bites the Baron's son Edward. The children call the elders for help, and they bring Edward home. He suffers from a fever. Hearing the brother's groans, his sister Charlotte comes to comfort him. The girl sees a knotty white stem wrapped around Edward's body. Charlotte calls for the adults, but as they come, they see Edward's room is already empty. The window has been broken. The walls are scratched and full of claw marks. Let's return to John McBride. Lieutenant Molière informs him that the Baron's son is missing, and they decide to go help with the search. Meanwhile, Seamus's daughter, Charlotte, meets Timmy in a church. The poor man has no memory of biting Edward. He hid the silver teeth and began to look for an explanation for what happened in the Bible. There he found lines about the 30 pieces of silver with which Judas was paid for his betrayal. Timmy was sure. The elders of their town had done something terrible. Now Judas Silver has come to the township to exact revenge. After talking to Charlotte, Timmy leaves the church. At the outskirts, he sees a silhouette of missing Edward. Timmy tries to catch up with him, but gets attacked by another obscure creature. John McBride arrives at the Baron's land. There he learns the number of victims has raised. There are 2 hurt children already. Timmy was not saved in time. Presumably, he was attacked by an animal. But at the Baron's estate, life goes on as usual. Clean sheets, dinner, singing. Seamus Laurent pretends that nothing has happened. John disrupts this idyll and demands that the windows of the house be boarded up. At night, he has the same dream as everyone else in the village. The only difference is that in John's dream, there is a woman and a girl. They are taken to the woods by a howling scarecrow. In the morning, John takes a scraping from the scratches in Edward's room. Examining the material under a microscope, he discovers strange cells. They are able to absorb cells from their own biomaterial. The Baron convenes a council. John warns everyone of the danger and demands that they prepare for a hunt. For what? For the beast. What makes him so sure? It's simple. It's not the first time such a thing has happened in Gévaudan. John has personally witnessed that. The village needs something to live on, so the locals draw straws. The 3 unluckiest go to work in the field. A girl named Anne-Marie notices one of the workers being taken by a strange white beast. The beast then attacks her as well. By some miracle, Anne-Marie manages to escape. She tells the locals that she was attacked by a dragon. Later, the girl escapes. Upon learning of this, John demands that the people gather at the only safe place, the church. Meanwhile, Anne-Marie goes off into the woods. She is so thirsty for water, she rushes into the lake. There, knotty white stems sprout from her back and entangle her body. Soon we will see what will hatch from this cocoon. Meanwhile, John is tormented by insomnia. He speaks with the Baron's wife, Isabel. The woman notices a tattoo on John's palm. It is the name of his wife. John tells her what happened in Gévaudan. That is also the place where gypsies got attacked, which soon was inhabited by a beast. It took its revenge on many locals, including John's wife and daughter. It's a cursed encased in gypsy silver, and it will take lives until the guilty are punished. The next day, John goes to set up traps and dig pits. He is hunted down by a beast. But here's the thing. John is not a defenseless boy. He wounds and captures the beast. The beast's body is taken by the Baron and dissected. Beneath the slices of white flesh, they discover something alive. It's a girl. She has been trapped in the beast's body like in a cocoon. A local resident identifies the missing Anne-Marie. The girl behaves strangely and begins to scream. Anne-Marie's misery is ended by a shotgun blast. And so, it is another dinner at the Baron's house. Not caring about the rules of decency, John asks to tell him the truth. He knows that the beast is avenging something, and will not stop until it reaches its goal. Alas, the Baron does not admit his guilt. The villagers are in a hurry and flee the village. Edward's and Charlotte's grandmother leaves too. The Baron's wife cannot bear it anymore and decides to take John to her husband's chambers and show him the hidden pictures. It shows the company of mercenaries over the bodies of gypsies. Isabel tells him that this is the only trophy of her husband which has been hidden but not displayed on the wall. John hurries to speak with the Baron's daughter. Charlotte retells him Timmy's words, those about Judas Silver, which is to be blamed. She takes John to the confessional and helps him find the hidden silver teeth. John asks to bring the blacksmith. Meanwhile, the Baron insists that life in his house goes on. Rather than stay in house in safety, his maid washes the sheets and goes to hang them up. At that moment, she gets attacked by the beast. The woman escapes. To keep the Baron from becoming enraged, she bandages her wounds and, overcoming the pain, serves the dinner. John notices the scarlet-splattered sheets in the courtyard. But seeing that no one is missing from the mansion, he puts his attention to other questions. For example, how to expose the Baron and everything he hides. Pinned against the wall, the Baron admits that he ruined a gypsy camp, but doesn't consider this as something terrible. John becomes furious. He speaks with a beast in human skin who has done more evil than the real toothy beasts. Still unrepentant, the Baron goes to sleep. He is awakened in the middle of the night by a groan. He goes to the sound and discovers that the maid has turned into a beast. The beast wounds the Baron and overturns the candlesticks. A fire breaks out. Isabel, awakened, brings her daughter out of the house. John rushes out to find her husband and finds him in the wine cellar. There he tips over a jar of liquor on himself. On seeing John, he asks him to tell the family that he is sorry. He then throws a candle into the puddle of alcohol and disappears into the fire. Trying to save Charlotte and Isabel, John drags them to the church. On the way, they see an overturned carriage. Charlotte's grandmother has not managed to leave the village. She has been caught by the Beast. At this point, the fugitives see the Beast running towards them, but it gets frightened by John's new weapon. It turns out that the protagonist has melted the magical silver teeth into 4 bullets and loaded a gun with them. John successfully leads Isabel and her daughter to the church. The villagers hide there too. It seems like they can only survive the night there. Suddenly, Isabel hears her son's voice. Edward begs his mother to take him away. Unable to withstand that, Isabel rushes to the voice, opens the church door, and lets the Beast in. The church is in chaos. People fall, struck by the claws of the Beast. As John reloads his gun, Isabel yells, "Enough," and the Beast suddenly stops. The confusion lasts only a second. When the creature launches at Isabel, John shoots. A silver bullet goes through her body and hits the Beast. The curse powers are satisfied now. The ones falling onto the ground are not the woman and the Beast, but the woman and the child. As Isabel lets out her last breath, her son comes to life. The Baron's children survive, but now they are orphaned. John McBride takes them with him. 35 years pass. At this time, Edward has been carrying a silver bullet in his body. When his life is cut short on the battlefield, the cursed bullet is finally removed. Edward's sister brings it back home to an aging John. The gypsy silver will now be kept in his possession, and it will no longer be an instrument of revenge. What did you think of this recap? Was it a simple gothic horror story, or a reflection on the monstrous nature of man? Give us a like, and remember to subscribe to the channel to make sure to get all the new reviews. See you later on the Movie Cat channel.